halfway through the season, it's time to start talking some trash. It's time to start talking some trash. It's a lot of storylines that we've been following that we argue about amongst ourselves, XYZ. And I want to start with McCauley. Let's start with McCauley. You know what I'm saying? You know, his family keep leaving him at home. They go to Paris, New York. You know what I'm saying? Well, all over the place with this dude, and he's still out here losing games.
Who's
still
this?
out here losing games to the Fresh Prince.
Who's
You know
this?
Who
is this?
I just told you, Macaulay Burrow. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Joseph.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you call him. You know what I'm saying? Macaulay Burrow. Listen, Charlie, I hate this whole Joe Burrow every year he digs himself a hole and watch the Bengals are coming back now. I'm sick of it. I told Charlie this, Frank. Joe Burrow, as much as I do think he's an efficient quarterback, he doesn't like to do the easy stuff. Like, he can do it, but it's like he kind of likes. I don't even know if this may be a new thing that's happening this year. I can't say that he's always been like this, but I can see this sense of urgency in him, but it don't look good. Like Peyton Manning, he got Peyton Manning style of play, if you ask me, but Peyton Manning doesn't have that turn up. Peyton Manning is just hyper efficient. And I don't know what's going on over there with the Bengals. Charlie Tree used to be hating on Zach Taylor. Maybe he'll blame him. I know it ain't Joe Burrow's fault. Who knows? Now, I will say, we over here, Soggy Nachos, champion quarterbacks and weapons, and T. Higgins has been in and out of the lineup. So I will admit to that. That being said, this is the same Joe Burrow that Charlie tells me going to be the MVP, going to be the Super Bowl MVP. Y'all both think he the greatest thing since sliced bread, and coming out of college, he was the best.
Are you
like,
done?
I'm not done. Second after Pat, better than Josh Allen. All this nonsense y'all was talking, and they stink. Go ahead, Charlie.
How did Mbaku say it? Are you done? Are you done? Listen, relax. Do they award the MVP in week 8? Relax.
Definitely not.
Do they give out Super Bowl MVPs
three and five, whatever.
8? Relax. I know this ain't Aaron Rodgers, but RELAX. You need to calm down.
Was that hard for you to spell?
A little bit. Like so my thing is Joe Burrow, most of these losses has come while they were shorthanded at receiver. T. Higgins missed they
got Yoshi lost, bro. They got Yoshi.
My point exactly.
Big bad Yoshi.
And the Bengals, yes, they have lost 2 to 3 games that they have no business losing. I'm still taking the Bengals. They have the better quarterback in most matchups. I'm taking them swinging. The Ravens are going to finish higher than them. The Chiefs are going to finish higher than them. The Bills are going to finish higher than them. But these other teams, the Jets are dead in the water. Like the Dolphins had a weird start to the season because of Tua. So like, I don't see the challenge being too insurmountable to overcome. I think, yes, they're in a hole, but he just got to get into the dance. I believe in Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow.
I know you do. I know you do.
We all do.
Let's do this, Frank. Let's move on to Frank. Frank, tell us about Joe Burrow. Then I want you to transition us to talk about Dak after you say what you got to say about Joe Burrow, because that will be fun for me. Mm-hmm.
See, Joe is getting me to a point where I believe in him, but you ain't about to, you know what I'm saying? You about to get kicked off this bus real quick before somebody can blame me for like what you got going on. And I say that because Joe Burrow looks like, we know that quarterbacks are very weapon dependent, but Joe Burrow looks very specifically like he's always kind of had a loaded arsenal. He like needs all of that. He can't do it without all of that. And it's kind of worrying to me, but I've been trying to leave it alone. But like, if all the pieces aren't there, he's not cutting it. And that's just a bit of a problem. We'll leave him alone right now. I think they'll be okay this year.
Sounds like Peyton Manning early in this
they better when the season comes, when this season ends, they better either open that checkbook for T. Higgins or they better find another one, because that's not going to work.
Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne, Peyton had the same issue. Go ahead, Frank. You was going to talk about how great Dak is, right? He's basically the same thing.
No, Dak is 30 times worse than that. Like, let's pump our brakes there. Leading into that, you know, I don't know what you guys want to do with Dak, but here's what I said. Let's take a clip of me talking about Dak from 3 years ago, and you can just put it in here like over me now, so that like we don't have to do this, because nothing has changed other than his salary. And Unfortunately for the Cowboys, anyone that likes them, it went up significantly. So
that's crazy.
I'm not really sure quite what you want me to tell you about.
Oh man, I don't know how to follow that up.
Charlie,
Damn, that's wild.
Relax for a second. You can go next. I want to speak on this.
Good, thanks.
This is amazing. This is excellent. The Cowboys succumbed to the pressure and they paid them. They got an elite receiver. I think we all agree with that. They got an elite receiver. You get an elite receiver and an elite quarterback. That's the Soggy Nachos recipe. But they didn't listen to all the stuff we said about Dak. Like, he can't be a part of this recipe. Listen, once again, I don't champion myself about a lot of stuff. We all have different strengths, but I trust me when it comes to quarterbacking and throwing that football. I know people have their different reasons why they think Dak is bad. I've even talked to my dad about it. Oh, he's not clutch. And it all boils back down to his lack of throwing ability. No matter if nobody wants to accept it or not, because I think none of us three would disagree that Dak is pretty cerebral. He's a pretty smart guy. He looks like he reads defenses well. He's pretty tough. He's a good leader. But he's also smart enough to know his throwing limitations. He does not throw the ball well. He has to position his body properly. Why do you think he's the only quarterback to do them hip thrusts? Why he the only one who do that? Because he don't got a natural throwing arm. He wasn't Dak's stats like as a person, as a leader, that doesn't typically fall to the fourth round. There's a reason he fell to the fourth round. He does not throw the football well. And all of Dak's problems, if you look at PFF, if you work for PFF or if you have time on your hands to break down it all boils down to his lack of throwing ability. That's what I got to say.
It's gross.
I mean,
I'm not a Dak hater. I am a Dak spectator. And that was spectacular. On Sunday, Dak Prescott has this rare ability for good quarterbacks that he just looks disgusting sometimes. Like some games, it's like I don't even know what to do with this. Like, do they have a quarterback issue? Like, it makes you. He has games where like, what do you do here at quarterback? Because you just naturally say, Dak is their quarterback, but should he be? Sometimes he has games where you're like, should he be this locked in to anyone's starting job?
He shouldn't.
Sometimes he has that.
Because let's keep it real. Let's break down the Cowboys, right? Dak happened to come at a time where they already had a good roster prior to, and then they had been doing well in the draft. Even CD he fell to them at 18 that year. All of these fortunate things that have happened, their defense was firing. They had Micah Parsons. Their defense was firing on all cylinders. So you have this really good team around him. They had a great running game with a great offensive line. As you see these things wither away, you start to see that quarterback that we talked about. I'll never forget it. There was a day that you, John, were telling me like you went to the Dallas-Washington game, and it was like you were like watching it in person because that also does something for you. Watching it in person and seeing that arm. Like, you know what I'm saying? And hey, here's the best part about this, right? Yes, they play in a nice condition, decent conditions in Dallas, in that nice stadium, climate controlled. I don't want him outside throwing the ball in December ever. Like, so when you add up all of these factors, it's like, what are we actually doing here?
Yeah, that's nasty. Yeah. Now, that's nasty. That being said, though, I do want to transition here to somebody, Frank. So, Frank, you made a statement last week. You told us the Jets will be fine. Do you still feel like that after this New England loss that they just took?
Speak up, because my headphones are a little messed up today. Go ahead.
You know what happened? I woke up and realized that Aaron Rodgers really is 40. So maybe they won't be
the real kind of 40. Not Tom Brady 40.
Yeah, he's like the actual 40. Not he's that 40. So Tom Brady remember when I told heads up a little bit. He messed our heads up.
Remember when I told you last week they understand the formula, but they don't got it.
Yeah,
I said they know that you got to get an elite quarterback and get that quarterback an elite receiver. They don't have the elite receiver on their team. They don't have the elite quarterback on their team.
And they let him do anything he wanted to do.
Anything he wants. That's his house.
So do we say? Do you feel? We both feel. I mean,
Jets season over.
Confident saying they will not make the playoffs.
The season's over for the Jets.
I was like, I was doing some more research, and I was like, kind of like trying to figure out what goes on, and like when you get your Achilles repaired, and typically it does, like, it's fine in theory, but it doesn't get better over time, or it's not going to perform, or you're not going to function the way you would like.
Unless you're
Naturally,
Kirk Cousins. Unless you're
right?
Kirk Cousins.
Right. So, well, I mean, okay, whatever. But it's just not. And he looks like he can't move at all. Like,
No, you're not wrong.
he could
So,
not move.
so let me ask you this, Charlie, before we move on. All right, all jokes aside, in all seriousness, would you allow him to come back next year if you were the Jets?
No.
So he's got to go.
I'll say this. I have to think about what choices do you have? Are you just gonna pay him and I'll probably bring him back, but only if he understands that our entire offseason is about finding a succession plan, not a success plan for him, like he wants everyone else to have a succession plan. That's the only way this is okay. If they had JJ McCarthy behind him right now, we wouldn't be tripping. We'd be like, maybe you should put the young guy in, but you have a plan. What happens with him and Devontae Adams retiring a year?
Yeah,
they don't got nothing.
No, you're not wrong. I can't argue with that, because the reason I'm saying that is because it's like it's kind of unfair to think that he's going to come in his first year and go crazy, but it's also, you can't really look for fair when we're letting you do whatever you want to do.
Everything
40. It's a lot of it's I don't know. That's just
also why do they still have Greg Zerline? But
well, I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy.
was that the timer?
So look, we let Frank talk about a couple. You know, his like we went off on Frank. Like, this has been kind of a Frank segment. Like, we talked about somebody he historically hates, somebody he historically loves. Now we gotta talk about somebody he been up and down on, but now he might be rekindling. What you think about Jameis, Frank? The Browns finally, I mean, maybe they had to, but they got the guy in now, Frank. Huh? What you think? Talk to me.
Look, man, what I think is that at some point in time, them character traits that make me like you is going to show out. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say. There's a reason I like them to begin with. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this, right? Just as we said what we said about Sam Darnold in another segment we had, don't make no mistake. Jameis Winston is still Jameis Winston, and he will do that thing, that 30 for 30 thing. You know what I'm saying?
So my thing. So going into this season, I said there's not going to be a more improved team than the Washington Commanders. Follow me. The reason I said this is because no one had a bigger upgrade organizationally just by getting rid of Dan Snyder. Just by releasing that weight of Dan Snyder, no team would be more improved than the Commanders. And they've shown it. Like, they look like they're top 5 in the power rankings. That being said, no team improved more at quarterback than any team removing Deshaun Watson from the starting lineup at quarterback. So I don't care who started at quarterback today. It could have been Fuzzy Lumpkins from the Powerpuff Girls starting at quarterback for the Chicago Bears. It would be an upgrade over Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has started 19 games for the Browns, never thrown for 300 yards. A combination of Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco has only started 6 games for this Browns team, and 7 games, and 6 of them they've gone over 300 yards. So it's not the coaching staff, it's not the play calling, it's not the players, it's the guy. Okay, if they thought they were buying a good quarterback with horrible character, they got gypped, because they got a bad quarterback with horrible character. The guy has been the worst starting quarterback since he's been allowed to play from his suspension, from being a horrible human being. This is the best thing to happen to the Browns. Hopefully, it's gone for good. Hopefully, they just sever the ties. They just pay him the money and just tell him, walk away and go get massaged by whomever you'd like.
So this is interesting because you both are Kevin Stefanski fans. That was hard to say, but y'all are both fans of him, and y'all look validated. I mean, the problem is, I mean, I guess, that's what's interesting about the dynamic of GM and coach, because it's like he was kind of taking up for Deshaun Watson, so I was kind of looking at him like, bruh. But I guess the GM and the owner already paid him. They said,
they already paid him on that money, so they was like, better put him on the field.
Not start him. The owner was like,
all guaranteed. Like
the guaranteed best, in his money. He gave
Kevin
up 3 first-round picks.
Right. Kevin Stefanski probably had a wry smile on his face when it happened. Like, yeah, I hate to say it.
That's
all over
hilarious,
victory
man.
joke.
That's hilarious. But
the Achilles tear
Charlie,
to save the city.
oh, that's cool. Did you think I was gonna let you get out of here without talking about Jayden Daniels?
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Did you think I was gonna let you do this? Listen, you know what was interesting, right? I was watching the game with my wife and all that, and she kept like alluded. She literally said that he should throw a Hail Mary like how, because remember the whole game they kept showing how Caleb did it at Gonzaga.
Mhm.
So he threw that game winning Hail Mary. She said maybe he could do that. And I was mad. I thought the game was over. I erupted when I seen Jayden throw that joint. But that being said, though, let's just talk about the game real quick, though, in all seriousness. It was a sloppy game for both sides, quite honestly.
Yeah.
For both started. I mean, Caleb was Jayden was hurt a little bit. You know, you could tell he's still a little
hurt.
And Caleb Williams was playing. No, I will say this about Caleb Williams, all jokes aside. Like, he's erratic, bro. He's a rookie, though. He's a rookie. So it's like I can't be mad at it because he is a rookie. And like Charlie pointed out to me, they're making him do a lot of stuff or letting him, however you want to look at it. And they're not simplifying. Like, because I'm going to keep real, even though I like Jayden, Cliff Kingsbury has given him a very simplified offense. But what about Shane Waldron, Charlie?
No. Nah, I'm not a Shane Waldronite. I don't.
But nah, it doesn't look like Caleb. I mean, Frank, seriously, when you look at Caleb play, does it even look like he got any simple stuff going on? It's like now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes even on quick screen passes, Caleb will let that jump sail.
Yo, in that game, he had some wildly inaccurate throw. I mean, 10 yards over the guy's head. I was like,
you can tell it's like to me, it's like
he was the one playing through a rib injury. Like that didn't come out the way it was supposed to come out. Like, honestly, genuinely, that's what it looked like. So if you find out in the off season, oh, he was nursing something from week 4 to week 8, that would make me feel better.
He probably is, but it's just like what I hate more than anything, right, is when you have a coaching staff or a play caller or somebody, play designer, who has a person with a specific skill set and you don't seem to even be fostering to that. Because that lets me know that it's like you're clueless as to what you have going on. And that's what it looks like when you watch their offense. Because I'm like, well, did you guys not watch him? Did they just tell you he was the best player or something for you guys to draft? Like, do you not know what you have at quarterback? Like, I'm confused. Like, that was very much confusing when you talk about the game. One thing I will say is that, you know, the 2 minute to 4, like in whatever scenario, like the 2 minute drill, it really does illuminate like most quarterback strengths, because you then go to like it becomes quick read, like there's less thinking involved, and you kind of just get to it, and so you can see the talent of the player.
Caleb did shine there.
You said what? Yeah, he shined there. So like, you see the talent of the player there, so you see what you have there. It's like put an offense together that makes sense for that, and I'm glad that, you know what I'm saying, that you could tell that, yes, Jayden was nursing injury and he didn't duck it. You know what I'm saying? No rubber duckies here. You know what I'm saying? He didn't duck it. What you could tell is that was a quarterback that was playing up against, because I really like Chicago's defense, by the way, against a really good defense, nursing an injury. It was a cagey game, but all that matters is that, you know, we came out on top.
Listen, no, relax. No, relax. Y'all got this quarterback. Y'all can talk about him whenever y'all want. I want to say that this was the dog performance. I got to say it was the dog. He came out, damaged ribs, and they had to wrap his ribs on the sideline. Every time he was on the sideline, they had to wrap him up, put some ice on it. He played, you couldn't tell from his play. He was running, he was making every throw he had to make. The kid he's special.
He's phenomenal.
He's special. He's Joe Burrow with Lamar Jackson's legs. It makes no sense. And I did say Joe Burrow because he gets hurt. So, but like, he's a special player. Hats off to him. It didn't look, to me, it didn't look close between the two quarterbacks that are on the field.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, Charlie. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I was like liking it. You know how much I'm not the biggest Lamar fan, but there would be some plays where you see him like scramble out. It'd be like a 3rd and whatever, and I could see the lane. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get there, and it felt good. Trust
me, me and Frank know why scramblers are intriguing. It's just very, very scary. But that being said, though, man, everybody knows I'm a throwologist. I'm meticulous in how I look at people throw the ball. So, you know, some quarterbacks pass throwology, some don't. Caleb Williams is like that kid who like won't turn in no assignments and do bad in classwork, but like gets good grades on the test. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's
he
good.
like I don't like off of just first look, I don't like his throwing ability, but he's clean in spots. It's not even like every other play. It's like these 2 drives, he's just inaccurate. But then it's like he finds himself at some point in the game. It's where it's like a shooter almost, like a shooter trying to find his touch. It's very
streaky shooter. You know what I'm saying?
He's not a consistent thrower. That being said, I mean he's not a consistently accurate thrower. That being said, I don't know. Maybe I could attribute that to being a rookie, because you know, Charlie, you tell me about how people say you can't really fix your accuracy. I don't necessarily think accuracy is his problem. It's more like he just doesn't throw the right types of passes at the right time or something. Like It's interesting to watch unfold, because I'm not going to say he can't throw, but it's just interesting because he will like let some sell on you.
He seems like a golfer that doesn't know which club to choose. Sometimes like, why are you bringing out the drivers? You got like 3
and that goes back to the coaching staff, and I don't know what they're doing with him.
Yes, because you're right. If he had Kevin O'Connell said, hey, look, don't throw it like that on this play. You need to throw it like this on. Like, man, man, Kevin O'Connell was the guy. But anyways, man, anything we got to say before we got out of this speech, Charlie? This is a mid-season wrap-up. You know what I'm saying? Just a little,
Look, man, last year was supposed to be the Ravens' year. This looks like it could be the Ravens' year. I know that they struggled this week, but with Lamar and halfway through the season, Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't know. They look like they'll be the last team to lose the bet.
I think that you have the right spirit in what you're saying, but you have the wrong guy, because I think this year might be Josh's year, and
I think both of y'all are lunching and y'all are falling for the headlines because this is a 3-peat year. They not losing.
You ain't hear me. I said Lamar might be the last guy to lose the bet.
That's what he said. He did say that. I think. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that if there is one person that will or could, it is Josh, and it is this year.
Fair point.
It's not this year.
I just feel like it's interesting because, like, the Chiefs are being frowned on. They're only undefeated team. Like, it's pretty.
They're not being frowned on. It's just people aren't talking about them because they're not putting up. They're not the old Chiefs. They're not putting up 40.
Watch when the playoffs get here. It's gonna be like, oh, they're back. They're all back again.
They're like, did they have this guy named Patrick Mahomes on their team?
Exactly. I still think it's gonna be the 3-peat year. But anyways, man, I'm done with this Soggy Nachos podcast. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Run and tell somebody about us. Peace.